There we go. All right. I'm the only one here, I think. And I'm still glitching. Let me catch up here. There we go. I think we're going good now. Yeah, there we go. And since I'm the only one, I'll just hang out for a little bit. Might as well go ahead and say happy birthday to my mom. Miss you, Mom. Hello, hello. Just hang out here for a little bit so some people come in. Hey, Chris, what's up, dude? How you? Cold? It's not too bad now. But I bet you're kind of cold. Just me and you at the moment, I guess. I hope you're having a good weekend. A good week. Yeah, I know. Same way. Like going on. Sick at the moment. That sucks. Yeah, Dad's fighting a head and chest cold, I think. Hello, Jim. How you doing, sir? I hope you're having a wonderful weekend so far. It's going around. I think I had a little bit of the week. I'm starting to feel better. I actually took something, so let's see what happens. But yeah, I don't feel as bad as I did. But I got a lot going on. So it's going to be a busy week. Busy week. But I'm ready for it. Try to get some stuff done. And how are you, Jim? Are you having a good time? Like I said, I hope everybody's having a good weekend. Hello, folks, as you come in. Now, remember, there's no Tuesday Talks for right now. Probably not until after the holidays. And she's trying to get work done. She does have a video coming out Monday at 11. I am not going to attempt to say it. I'll try. Let me see if I can find it again. But anyway, she does have an 11 o'clock Monday video at 11 a.m. So be here. Oh, it's a premiere. So this should be a good one. I got to find it now. I don't know if she's watching or not. So Gemma, if you're watching, I doubt it. You had a long day, so I'm sure you're asleep. I got to find it now. It was last week. Anyways, Thursday night. But anyways, she does have an 11 o'clock premiere on Monday. And nothing Tuesday and Wednesday. I should be here Thursday, hopefully. And then Friday. So me, Spooky Time at 8. Then Friday at 7:15. Workles with Gemma. And then I should be back Saturday. But yeah, let me make sure I get all that cleared off. Just watched Skeleton Crew. It was an amazing show, but that's cool. I'll check it out. I'm almost caught up on all my shows, so I haven't been sleeping the best, so well, which is not unusual, but catching up on my movies and stuff. This is the kind of day I've had. I asked, sorry, what Apple product can I afford? Her response was apple juice. No, that's story, but anymore, that's probably true. I don't know. I'm not a. Son got me an Apple. I like my phone. I like my other phone. It was just a regular old, what was it, Android. But their phone's a phone. I use half the stuff on it. Just give me a good old flip phone I can take decent pictures with. I'm happy. I don't need anything fancy. I mean, other than texting. It's a lot easier to text on this phone than it is on a flip phone. That's for sure. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. Edna, how you doing, dear? I woke up and heard you. You are. I woke up and heard you are. Hey, hello. I'm awake. Yeah, I'm awake. I'm here. You can go back to sleep, Edna, if you need the rest. We don't want to annoy you. I don't want my crickets to keep you awake. I got them in a little container. I can send them over your way. I haven't put them in the tank yet. I do a little clean before I do that. The last movie I watched was New Jack Black Christmas. Just came out. Dear Santa. Was that any good? I'm not a big Jack Black fan. I mean, so I heard that one with is that the one with The Rock or the other one? The one with The Rock I heard was just a dud. I had a good idea, but it was not great. I haven't heard your evil crickets in weeks. Yeah, they got eaten the first time. Now I do have some new ones in a container behind me. They've been quiet all night. They're sitting on top of the tank, so they know. When they know there's danger by, they get real quiet. Toads are down there just going nuts because they know they're up there. I'm surprised you don't hear them chirping. But it's kind of chilly, so I keep my bedroom fairly cool. Crickets don't like it. They'll be a lot happier once I put them in and take them and go take cover, warm up. But no, they are in the container, though. Like I said, I can send them your way if you need to hear crickets. Very funny. Kids is when he tries writing to Santa, but spells it saying no. Funny. Oh gosh. When the weather gets cold, they come in the house. Well, I had to go get mine. We don't have that problem. It's the ants. Those little dang pea ants. Those are the ones we fight with in spring, and then off and on during the summer. And no matter what you do, you can have the most chemical in the world. They're almost like cockroaches. Yeah, I'm right. You're next. I'm next to the cemetery, and it's pretty much flowers and trees and grass. I mean, it's loud here during the spring and summer and the fall. I mean, from spring to fall, it's all you hear. It's when you don't hear them, you worry. And there have been nights like that this year where I didn't hear nothing. I mean, tree frogs, crickets just right over there. Tree frogs, they go nuts. And there have been some nights where there was nothing. And it kind of was unnerving. Yeah, I heard The Substance is not a bad movie. I do want to see it. They say it's pretty trippy. So it's like that one movie, Society. Have you seen that movie? That's a weird movie. Really weird movie. Yeah, when we lived, me and Josh, before we moved in with Pop, we lived on a place down south. It was right on the highway, on the outer belt, 270. And there was a lot of trees and forests and creek. Man, that place got loud. And then you had the traffic. The traffic didn't bother me. It's like we live pretty close to a train, too. And I can sleep it out all night long. I'm so glad. That's the one thing I do miss. And I'm glad I'm back, was the train. Because I got a train, what's it? East and west of me. Sometimes on quiet nights, you can hear them both. Excuse me, but sneeze. Oh my gosh, that was a sneeze. Thank you. That's how I got rid of my son's ant problem. Thanks. It was a good one, too. I apparently needed it. Wow. Yeah, I love the train noises. And rain. I can sleep in a good hard rain any night. Thunder and lightning, the whole works. If I can get myself to go to sleep. I think I lay there and listen to it. It's just soothing. It's like the crickets. When I get crickets that calm down. See, right now the crickets are they're in a container. And they're right on top of the tank. That's why they're so quiet, because the frogs know that they're down there, or the toads know they're down there, up there. And they've been hovering underneath. And the crickets can sense the danger. Oh, you did? You have about 3 blocks away from the train, maybe 4 blocks away from the train, if that. And then the one out west, maybe a little farther. The one on the east of us, man, when they used to run them all the time, man, it was nice to sleep to those because it was always night runs. But you didn't want to get stuck at if they came during the day, you didn't want to get stuck at the train tracks because you'd be full. Thank you, Edna, again, because I did sneeze hard. I wasn't sure if it was coming. But yeah, we're going to do tonight for her replay. We're going to do 10 of the most cursed objects in the world. It says part 1. I couldn't find part 2, but maybe I'll stumble on it later when I look for it. And if I don't find it tonight, I couldn't find it, so I'm not going to look for it tonight. But this one's 39 minutes, and then we'll see what time's left over. Maybe I'll do another one. Maybe I'll do her one about the New Orleans vampires. So, okie dokie, we'll start that here in a little bit as the crowd rolls in. We got 8 people, so I'll probably start it pretty soon. Like I said, new routine. No Tuesday talk unless I do something at night by fluke. If I get bored or something, I'm glitching again. Dang it, I hate when that happens. It just looks so weird. Okay, let's see what happens. I guess it's still for a minute. Attempt to sit still. It cracks me up. Come on, what's going on? There we go. Cracks me up when Gemma sees me sitting real still and it looks like I'm frozen. Actually, I'm shaking so hard you wouldn't believe, and I'm just trying to fight it. I'm trembling. We used to go have trains going through. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. We jumped one. The one up the top east of me. I mean, it's a walk. It's just a little walk away. A buddy of mine one night jumped the train, ended up clearing Cleveland. We had to call somebody to come get us. They were pissed. We never got caught, which was amazing because it was up a couple times. In one stop, we thought we were going to get caught. We just had a blast. But yeah, we get in pretty good trouble at home, though. It was hilarious, though. It was a fun ride, though. I got to see some lights I never thought I'd see. It was really pretty cool. The back roads, the back areas of Ohio. There was some, I didn't realize there was some very beautiful scenery that I probably would have never noticed other than all the other places. I mean, I've been to a lot of places, probably like you, Chris. But when you take those off road on a train, it's just, some of the views just amazing. The sun setting that night was just gorgeous from the train. It was just ass kicking now. But yeah, we got in pretty good trouble for it. And we had to spend the night. There's only his dad my friend's dad called a hotel because he's from Cleveland. So they called a hotel and had a taxi come pick us up and take us to the hotel. We got picked up in the morning. Funny. The lecture all the way home was great. Oh, well, we were 17. We're looking to have some fun. But yeah, we'll do that here in a minute. We'll do that video. What time we got here? 12:19. And hopefully next Thursday we can get into the spooky stuff. We were having a good time. Hello, Vixen. How are you, dear? We got Edna, Vixen, Chris. Andrew stopped in earlier. I don't know if people saw Andrew came in earlier and had some truck problems. He blew out the rear differential, exploded. So he's stuck outside of Minnesota somewhere. He's stuck somewhere. I don't know if he's watching, but I'm glad he's safe. I hope everybody had a good time last night. Edna, you weren't there. Gemma notices when you're not there, Edna. So yeah. When you're not there, I'm just going to start doing timestamp for you. Simple as that. I'm going to still tell Gemma. We need to do that timestamp. Yeah, I think he's okay. I mean, he was kind of, it seemed, and if you, I don't know if you guys can see it. It was on my StreamYard. And then I saw it when I came in. He's had to have maintenance on his truck twice in 2.5 weeks, I guess. And then in Minnesota, he went over railroad tracks and it exploded his differential, I guess. But he got it off the road and off the tracks. And he got everything set up. And he was waiting for a tow. So I'm sure he's safe and good. Been very sick, Ghost. I know. I know you have. Are you talking about you, Edna? And Vixen, you don't have to send that gift. I appreciate it, though. I'm sure Pop's going to love it. There I go glitching again. It's got to be... It's my camera, I think. Edna. Yeah, Pop's got it, too. He's got a pretty good head and chest cold. I think that's what I've been fighting. I have to give it to him. Once I start taking something for it. Once I decided, oh, maybe I've got something too, and I took. See, it's hard for me to tell when I'm sick, to be quite honest. Unless I'm running a fever or puking, I won't know. I will not know. But apparently I might have brought something in the house. Well, we might have picked something up when we go out, so who knows? But I hope you start to feel better, hon. I'll keep you in my thoughts. I worry about you. I will always worry about you. I guess you're one of those small group of people that I first met when I actually started talking on the internet. And I've been around on the internet for a while. You just happened to be around when I actually started talking. Internal bleeding ghosts. They've damaged your kidney with all those damn drugs. Pardon my mouth. Sorry, you too. Honey, are you in the hospital? Or are you home? Be honest. I'm going to have to come and see you. I'll drag Pop with me. He could use a vacation. We'll come lift your spirits. Yep, you are in the hospital. Okay. Go rest, hon. Enjoy it. I'll start the video here pretty soon. You just relax. Oh, you're home? Okay. I was actually gonna come. You're not that far away. Pop can make it. Doing good to get out. We don't even have Christmas decorations up. I asked about Pop, honestly, do you want Christmas decorations up or not? He goes, I don't care. It's just us. I'm like, yeah, but I went to go get a box and he goes, don't. Today's my mom's birthday. So he's going to be a little quiet today. So, yeah. So happy birthday, Mom. I said it to you at the beginning of the stream. I'll say it to you again. I miss you. Wish we got to air some things out, but I miss you. But yeah, let's not get all down because I got another funeral Wednesday. This is what I'm supposed to talk to his wife tomorrow. So it'll be fun. But it's good. I'm good. You ready to go? Guys, want to go ahead and do this video before getting worse than 5 people? But once I start the video, people come in. But I love you guys. Let's go ahead and start this one since it is a long one. You guys can sit back. Edna, you can sit back and relax. You guys can roam around and talk. I'll be right here. Hopefully I can see his chat's running good for me on YouTube. So hopefully I should be able to stay in chat. I don't like to talk to her on a video. I can get away with it here because it's her channel. But if you don't talk to her on a video and you do another person's video, you're supposed to talk. There's a certain amount of time you have to meet talking. And I don't have to worry about that here because it's her channel. Anyways, I'll shut up now. Let me get this set up and get it going. It'll be a good one. I haven't watched this one in a while. So talking about a couple of those paintings and stuff. It'll be a good one. It says part 1, but I couldn't find part 2. Like I said. So, hopefully I'll stumble across it. If I find it, we'll watch it later. I'm not going to look for it tonight. And yes, we'll send you a lot of good vibes, Edna, a lot of love. Honey, I worry about you. You know I do. I got an email waiting for you. I just haven't sent it because I keep adding stuff to it. Okay, let me get this baby going. Looks goodness. Mike better not come in while this video is on. He might have a cow. Mr. Mike. I know you might be watching in the background. Okay. Let me get myself situated here. Hide at the bottom. Make it go full screen. And make sure you can tell me you can hear this and everything. I'll make sure it's turned up. Everything looks good.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here,
you might have to turn it up a little bit.
My name is Gemma Jade, but today
this one is
we are going to be
value.
discussing cursed objects. Now, last week I released a video about Little Bastard, and that would be James Dean's affectionately nicknamed Porsche Spyder 500, which he crashed and died in. And it's allegedly cursed. And the response, the feedback that I got from that video was so great. I had asked you if you wanted me to discuss and talk about more cursed objects to let me know in the comments or to email me. And the response was kind of overwhelming. I was going to do a series like this anyway. And you guys know I like to do series. I can never do just like one video on something, really, because I always want to look deeper. I always want to find out and know more and give you guys all of the information. I love going down rabbit holes, right? So what started off with James Dean's Porsche is now going to be a series. I'm going to just do an overall top 10 most cursed or haunted objects. And I'm going to move into specifics like dolls, Dybbuk boxes, things like that. All the kinds of things that you're going to find on this list. Cursed objects have been a hot topic of debate for skeptics and believers alike, probably since the beginning of time or since the beginning of such things as curses. If you're interested in the paranormal and clicked on this video, again, it's reasonable to assume that this subject interests you in some way or another, whether you're a skeptic, a believer, or a little bit in between. I really want to know what you think about all this. Either way you fall. So please make sure you leave me a comment and let me know what's up. I realize that some of these objects and the alleged curses that are attached to them are more believable than others. But I tried to choose ones for this video that I feel are pretty credible, ones that I definitely believe in myself. I always used to say that I'm not a skeptic in any sense of the word. I'm very gullible, naive, and I believe everything. However, since becoming more educated and involved in the paranormal community, and because of the work I'm doing here on this channel, and also in my other endeavors like my book, my experiences, and my personal life as well, that's really changed. I look at everything with a little bit more than healthy skepticism now. I have a pretty big amount of skepticism for most things that I see and hear, unless I'm able to do further research. Again, though, take this with a grain of salt. This is another one of those videos that I'm not going to say it's a fun video, but it's another little shorter video until we move into the deeper meaning of curses when I get into, come fall, hopefully, my series on demonic possession, which is going to be really deep and really heavy and also really dangerous. So guys, before you watch some of these videos, not just mine, surround yourself in white light. Take 1 minute, 60 seconds to do some kind of light meditation. With all that being said, let's jump in here and look at 10 extremely cursed objects, my top 10. Now, I've seen some extremely creepy things in my time, not just as an investigator and researcher of the supernatural and paranormal, but nothing gets me quite as worked up as some paintings and pictures I've come across which are said to be haunted or cursed. Number 10 on our list is a painting called The Hands Resist Him, which, in my opinion, is creepy AF all on its own without having a curse attached to it. This painting was done in 1972 by a man named Bill Stoneham and is considered one of the most haunted pieces of artwork to ever exist in the entire world. Every time someone decided they couldn't take it anymore and decided to either sell or give the painting away, they did so with a warning to the next owner. They warned that once nighttime comes, the figures in the painting, the creepy boy and the even creepier doll by his side, come to life. They either move around in the painting itself or disappear altogether. Sometimes they even reappear in the very room the picture is hung up in. According to Bill, the artist, the hands on the door represent alternate lives, dimensions, realms, or even just simpler in representing alternate opportunities. While the door itself represents a threshold between our own reality and the hidden and unseen worlds around us. The doll standing next to the boy is the guide into these other possible places, and she is going to escort the boy through all of them. The first person to ever publicly display the painting in an art gallery and the first critic to ever review the painting both died tragic deaths very soon after they each did this. They each met their own demise within a year, actually. Owners of the painting and even people who are just looking at it, like if it were just hanging on a wall in your friend's guest room or something, and you just happen to glance over at it, have all reported seeing the figures in the thing come to life once night falls. Many people, and in my opinion, too many for it to be just a coincidence, report that just looking at the painting makes them feel extremely sick and nauseated, as well as weak and completely drained of energy. Now, I'm going to try to put a picture of each of the 10 haunted items in as I'm discussing them, but if I can't find some that aren't copyright, I'm trying to be real careful of the copyright stuff, so I'll do my best to do that. But this painting is so creepy. You guys got to let me know what you think definitely about this one. Feeling completely weak and drained of energy upon just looking at something like a painting. I mean, could it have some kind of energy vampirism attached to it? We talk about energy vampires all the time, me and Steve, in our live streams, in my videos. So I'm wondering if the curse or whatever's haunting it is some kind of energy vampire or was perhaps created as or put there by one. Number 9, the cursed mirror at Myrtle's plantation. This next item is from Louisiana in the United States, and the property itself of the Myrtle's plantation is actually said to be one of the most haunted places in the entire world, with one object in particular standing out above the rest as especially cursed. There is a mirror displayed in the great room at the plantation, which is said to be inhabited by the souls of a Mrs. Sarah Woodruff and her 2 daughters, who were poisoned to death by a slave named Chloe. The mirror wasn't added to the home until 1980 and was in storage up until that time, with no one being able to look in or view it. Back in the day, and some people still follow this tradition nowadays, if someone passed away in the home, you were supposed to cover all of the mirrors with sheets or something like that, so the souls of the recently deceased didn't end up trapped in the mirrors. Unfortunately, in his grief, Sarah's husband forgot to cover one mirror in the house when they passed away, and it's said the souls of the 3 went right into this particular mirror. There have been numerous images taken of the mirror, and in it are the spirits of one or both of the little girls. This has happened more times than I can even tell you in this video. That's how real this specific curse and or haunting is. Also, there are supposedly handprints, child's handprints, which appear and disappear at random on the mirror itself. Chloe, the slave, was herself murdered by the other slaves because of her poisoning of Sarah and her children. Her spirit is also said to wander the plantation. Listen, I could actually do an entire video on all of the deaths, paranormal activity, curses, hauntings, murders, etc. going on in and all around this plantation, all on its own. And in fact, I just might do that. But for now, here's just one of the many pictures taken of the mirror, which seems to show the spirit of one of the little girls who was poisoned by the slave girl Chloe and whose soul or spirit got trapped inside the mirror. Number 8 is the Woman from Lem statue, also called the Goddess of Death statue. The Woman from Lem is an artifact covered in limestone that was found in Cyprus, Greece in 1878. It was passed from one family to another 4 times after it was originally owned because each official owner in each family ended up dying of some strange and untimely death within just a few years of purchasing and or owning the statue. This statue took out almost every single member in 4 whole families. The families weren't even related to each other either. Anyway, the last family member standing was terrified he was going to be next, and so he gave the statue to the Royal Scottish Museum in Edinburgh, Scotland, hoping that having the item locked behind a display case would end the curse or whatever was causing all of these familial deaths. That ended up not being the case, however, as the museum curator who had handled the statue, who made the purchase, and who set it up in the display case, went on to be murdered just a few days after first handling the item. Number 7 is the Annabelle doll. What would a list of cursed items be without a creepy cursed doll? And how can we talk about cursed dolls without talking about dear Annabelle? Contrary to what we see in the movies about the doll, Annabelle is actually a Raggedy Ann looking doll, a rag doll. The backstory is, back in 1970, a woman was in a thrift store and saw the old-fashioned doll and thought it would be a cute gift for her almost 20-year-old daughter, whose name was Donna. The woman gave the gift to Donna for her birthday, and she kept it in her room in her apartment she shared with another female student. Not long after, the nursing student and her roommate started noticing Annabelle would be in rooms other than Donna's bedroom, which is where she was always put and left. She kept Annabelle on her bed. She didn't move her. At this point, the doll didn't yet have a name, but eventually, after walking into yet another room in the house one day and seeing the doll standing straight up perfectly on her legs without any kind of support, she and her roommate decided to call a local psychic medium to come in and investigate and see what was going on with this doll. They had also been experiencing some poltergeist activity since the doll had come into the home as well. The medium alleged she communicated with the spirit of a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle who had died suddenly and tragically, and the story varies depending on who you speak to or what you read. It's kind of been lost to retelling, but the story I most saw was the 7-year-old girl named Annabelle died suddenly and tragically, and somehow her spirit ended up in her favorite plaything, which was nearby. Some say it was a car accident. Others tell the story without specifying how little Annabelle died. Some say she was murdered, etc., etc. The two young women felt bad because it was the spirit of a little girl, allegedly, and they allowed Annabelle to stay in their home and even gave verbal permission for the entity to stick around. The two girls bought other toys for Annabelle to play with. They even tried to take care of and mother the doll, kind of. The little girl attached to it, essentially. They wanted to take care of her. However, very quickly after granting this verbal permission for the spirit to stay, things started getting really, really scary. It was no longer just poltergeist activity that was happening, but physical attacks, especially on the male friends who would come to visit or stay the night. One male friend was attacked in his sleep and received some pretty nasty claw marks on one side of his lower back. This is when Ed and Lorraine Warren were contacted, and it turned out the spirit of the little girl Annabelle was just a front for a demon who was trying to possess Donna. And once they gave the invitation to stay, the demon essentially had full reign. The Warrens took the doll and encased her in a locked glass cell where she remains to this day and is kept in their basement in Monroe, Connecticut, where they house hundreds, even thousands of cursed objects. Annabelle, though, is still active in this case and knocks on the glass and even growls at visitors. It's thought best to stay away from her altogether, as she is also known to make bad things happen, mainly fatal car accidents, to anyone she thinks is insulting her or mocking her, disrespecting her in any way. This includes taking her picture or taking a picture with her without asking for her permission and waiting for it to somehow be granted. Number 6 is the Hope Diamond, and I almost got carried away on a full-blown history lesson on this. It's so hard for me to cut things like that out because I enjoy history and research so much. So, the Hope Diamond is a 45.52 carat blue diamond formed over 1 billion years ago deep inside the earth. Today, it's worth $250 million and has a pretty crazy alleged curse attached to it. The official color is fancy deep grayish blue, and despite popular belief, is much more gray than a sapphire and is therefore not anything like the deep blue gem. There have been a total of 21 people who have claimed ownership of the diamond throughout the last few centuries. The diamond originated in India and is said to have been discovered in the 17th century. There's no record of who discovered or owned the stone first, but the first documented owner was Jean-Baptiste Tavernier. He discovered it along with a bunch of other precious gems during one of his voyages to India. He sold this and some of the other diamonds to King Louis XIV for a patent of nobility and 147 kilograms of gold. King Louis had the gem recut to a 67.125 carat stone. His son inherited the jewel and again had it recut. His son, Louis XVI, inherited it as well, and it was eventually stolen along with the other French crown jewels during a raid from him and Marie Antoinette. Many of the jewels were recovered, but not the Hope diamond. Despite it being lost, they thought forever. It was said to have been cursed during his and Miss Antoinette's beheadings in 1793. Thought to be recut again and smuggled into England, the larger part of the diamond was found in 1812 and was named the Hope Diamond, and that's what we know of the Hope Diamond today. Between 1800 and 1812, the diamond somehow got into the possession of an English diamond merchant named Daniel Elagion. I could continue to trace the ownership for you, but we're here for the discussion of a possible curse, not, kind of unfortunately, a history lesson. So here it is, all of the people the curse of the Hope Diamond is said to have affected so far. Jacques Collet bought it from Simon Frankel and committed suicide. Prince Ivan Kanitovsky bought it from Frankel, but was then almost immediately afterwards killed by Russian revolutionists. Kanitovsky loaned it to Mademoiselle Laud, who was murdered by her sweetheart, Simon Mencheritis, and I'm sorry guys, I am not good at pronouncing foreign last names, who had once sold it to the Turkish Sultan, was thrown from a precipice along with his wife and young child. Sultan Hamid gave it to Abu Sabir to polish, but later Sabir was imprisoned and tortured. Stone guardian Kalub Bey was hanged by a mob in Turkey. A Turkish attendant named Hever Agha was hanged for having it in his possession. Tavernier, who brought the stone from India to Paris, was torn to pieces by wild dogs in Constantinople, which is modern-day Istanbul. King Louis gave it to Madame de Montespan, whom he later abandoned. Nicolas Fouquet, an intendant of France, borrowed it temporarily to wear it, but was disgraced and died in prison. A temporary wearer, Princess de Lamballe, was torn to pieces by a French mob. Jeweler William Fowles, who recut the stone again, was said to have died a ruined man. William Fowles' son, Hendrik, stole the jewel from his father and later also committed suicide. And some years later, after Hendrik, it was sold to Francis Delio, who died in misery and want. I'm sorry if that was all said really fast. I'm trying to remember to slow it down, but I think you get the gist. There is something going on with this diamond. Why, when, or by whom it was cursed, I still don't know, but they say that the curse somehow was transferred to it or given to it, put on it, when Marie Antoinette and King Louis XVI were beheaded. At number 5, in our halfway mark, the Thomas Busby chair. Also known as Busby's stoop chair, this wooden chair is said to be cursed by convicted serial murderer Thomas Busby. Before being hanged for his ruthless crimes, he requested that his last meal be had in his favorite local watering hole. Somehow, this request was granted, and while there in the pub, Busby stood from the chair and shouted out, "May sudden death come to anyone who dares sit in my chair." The crazy thing is, 63 people who have sat in the chair actually have died in strange and sudden deaths since. After seeing this wasn't just a coincidence, but possibly was an actual curse, the owner of the pub donated the chair to the Thirsk Museum in the United Kingdom, where it hangs 1.5 meters off the ground to prevent anyone from sitting in it and perpetuating this insane curse. Number 4, the Anguished Man painting. The current owner of this piece of artwork inherited it after his own grandmother had kept it hidden in her attic for nearly 25 years. His grandmother had warned him that the man who created this weird and scary looking, in my opinion, monstrosity of a painting had mixed his own blood with the paints he used to create it and also committed suicide in the presence of the painting shortly after it was finished. She said she kept it locked up and put away for so long because the thing is cursed. She often heard crying coming from its general vicinity wherever she would hang it in her house. She sometimes even saw a shadowy man lurking around the painting, also despite what room it was in or how many times she moved it. Once Sean had it in his family's home with his wife and kids around, he started to have the exact same paranormal and creepy experiences his grandmother had had and warned him about. His wife also said she felt something stroking her hair all of the time, and their son fell down the stairs but claims he was pushed by some unseen force. Sean decided to cash in and make some YouTube videos of the painting and see what happened. What he uploaded looked just like your average run-of-the-mill, again, poltergeist phenomenon such as doors slamming on their own, the painting not only moving but flying off the walls, also of its own accord. He got so freaked out, he locked the painting in his basement and refuses to sell it to anyone. I'm pretty sure the videos can still be found here on YouTube, so happy hunting. Number 3 was one that I hadn't really heard about before until I started this research, the abandoned house doll Letta. In Wagga Wagga, New South Wales, a man named Kerry decided to go and explore an old, allegedly haunted and abandoned house just for some kicks. He had gone away for a while, and when he returned a bit older, decided now was the time to go and face the house, which caused him so much fear as a younger boy. He discovered an old marionette doll hidden in the floorboards of the old home. He decided to take the doll home with him, which, by the way, is never a good idea and always means some sort of paranormal activity is going to come your way. And that's if you're lucky, that's all that'll happen. Anyway, the whole way home, the doll yelled from the box he put it in, "Let me out!" Hence the name he chose to give it, Letta. He brought the doll home, and many people would take one look at the thing and literally run screaming the other way, desperate to get out of its presence. Kerry started taking Letta onto television shows where more than once a cameraman was so creeped out by the doll, he insisted the thing not be looking directly at the camera while he was operating it. Is this doll cursed? I don't know. I put it in here because of the effect it seems to have on people who are unfortunate enough to be near it for any length of time, like a second or two. Has it killed anyone? No. Is there possibly something wrong with it by the feelings that it gives people that they don't even want it looking in their general vicinity? Who knows? Maybe if I dug a little bit deeper, maybe I could find something. Number 2 on our list is Valentino's ring. In 1920, movie star Rudolph Valentino bought a plain silver ring embedded with semi-precious stones from a jewelry store in San Francisco. He fell in love with the ring immediately, despite the store owner warning him that he believed the ring had a curse.
My mother
attached
talked
to
about
it
this
or
ring a
was
number
haunted.
of times. Valentino
wore the ring while filming a movie that was a complete and total failure. He decided after that maybe the guy was right, because at this time he was so famous, he didn't do movies that failed. You know, people flocked to go and see just him. So he decided to put the ring away for a little while and not wear it anymore. He took the ring out to do his final movie, but he died shortly after with the ring still on his finger. It was then passed along to Paula Negri, one of his former lovers, who suffered a severe illness. She eventually recovered, but her acting career did not ever recover from this illness. She passed the ring on to a young singer named Russ Colombo, who died in a shooting accident. Next, Colombo's friend Joe Casino wore the ring and died in a car accident 1 week later. That's an awesome name, by the way. Hi, I'm Joe Casino. A man named James Willis attempted to steal the ring, but he was caught by police and shot and killed. At least 3 more people, who owned the ring died while it was in their possession under mysterious, sudden, and or tragic circumstances. Number 1 is the Dybbuk box. Now, I know there are tons of Dybbuk boxes out there. I know they all contain malevolent spirits or demons. I haven't done a lot of research on them yet, but when I come into my demonic possession series, I'm sure that I will have a lot more to offer you. This particular box, though, struck me because of the crazy detail attached to the eBay listing. So this one particular is also an allegedly haunted wine box. And as I said, it was sold on eBay, but this letter that was accompanying it, which was a warning to whoever purchased it, was crazy. I'm going to read part of it now. You can find the whole thing if you just look up the Dybbuk box. Like, this thing is called the Dybbuk box. It's the one. So this came from the first buyer, who was an antique buyer and refinisher who thought he was just buying an antique wine box. He says, all of the events that I'm about to set forth in this listing are accurate and may be verified by the winning bidder with the copies of hospital records and sworn affidavits that I'm including as part of the sale of the cabinet. During September of 2001, I attended an estate sale in Portland, Oregon. The items liquidated at this sale were from the estate of a woman who had passed away at the age of 103. A granddaughter of the woman told me that her grandmother had been born in Poland when she grew up, married, raised a family, and lived until she was sent to a Nazi concentration camp during World War II. She was the only member of her family who survived the camp. Her parents, brothers, a sister, husband, and 2 sons and a daughter were all killed. She survived the camp by escaping with some other prisoners and somehow making her way to Spain, where she lived until the end of the war. I was told that she acquired the small wine cabinet listed here in Spain, and it was one of the only 3 items that she brought with her when she immigrated to the United States. The other 2 items were a steamer trunk and a sewing box. I purchased the wine cabinet along with the sewing box and some other furniture at the estate sale. After the sale, I was approached by the woman's granddaughter who said, I see you got the Dybbuk box. She was referring to the wine cabinet. I asked her what a Dybbuk box was, and she told me that when she was growing up, her grandmother always kept the wine cabinet in her sewing room. It was always shut and set in a place that was out of reach. The grandmother always called it the Dybbuk box. When the girl asked her grandmother what was inside, her grandmother spit 3 times through her fingers and said, a Dybbuk and Kesselim. The grandmother went on to tell the girl that the wine cabinet was never, ever to be opened. The granddaughter told me that her grandmother had asked that the box be buried with her. However, as such a request was contrary to the rules of an Orthodox Jewish burial, the grandmother's request had not been honored. I asked the granddaughter what a Dybbuk or Kesselim were, but she did not know. I asked if she would like to open it with me. She did not want to open it, as her grandmother had been very emphatic and serious when she instructed her not to do so, and regardless of the reason, she wanted to honor her grandmother's request. I finally ended up offering to let her keep what seemed to me like a sentimental keepsake. At that point, she was very insistent and said, no, you bought it. I explained that I didn't want my money back and that it would make me feel better to do what I thought was an act of kindness. She then became somewhat upset. Looking back now, the way she became upset was just plain odd. She raised her voice to me and said, you bought it, you made a deal. When I tried to speak, she yelled, we don't want it. She began to cry, asked me to leave, and quickly walked away. I wrote the whole episode off to the stress and grief she must have been experiencing. I took my purchases and politely left. Now remember, guys, this is all in a YouTube sale. At the time when I bought the cabinet, I owned a small furniture refinishing business. I took the cabinet to my store and put it in my basement workshop where I intended to refinish it and give it as a gift to my mother. I didn't think anything more about it. I opened my shop for the day and went on to run some errands, leaving the young woman who did sales for me in charge. After about a half hour, I got a call on my cell phone. The call was from my salesperson. She was absolutely hysterical and screaming that someone was in my workshop breaking glass and swearing. Furthermore, the intruder had locked the iron security gates and the emergency exit, and she couldn't get out. As I told her to call the police, my cell phone battery went dead. I hit speeds of 100 miles per hour getting back to the shop. When I arrived, I found the gates locked. I went inside and found my employee on the floor in the corner of my office sobbing hysterically. I ran to the basement and went downstairs. At the bottom of the stairs, I was hit by an overpowering, unmistakable odor of cat urine. There had never been any animals kept or found in my shop. The lights didn't work. As I investigated, I found that the reason the lights didn't work also explained the sounds of glass breaking. All of the light bulbs in the basement were broken. All 9 incandescent bulbs had been broken in their sockets, and 10 4-foot fluorescent tubes were lying shattered on the floor. I did not find an intruder, however. I should also add that there was only one entrance to the basement. It would have been impossible for anyone to leave without meeting me head on. I went back up to speak with my salesperson, but she had already left. She never returned to work. After having been with me for 2 years, she refuses to discuss the incident to this day. I never thought of relating the events of that day to anything having to do with the cabinet. Then things got worse. As I already indicated, I had decided to give the cabinet to my mother as a birthday gift. About 2 weeks after I made the purchase, I decided to get started refinishing it. I was surprised to find that the cabinet has a unique little mechanism. When you open one of the doors, the mechanism causes the opposite door and the little drawer below to open at the same time. It is very well made. Inside the cabinet, I found the following items. 1 1928 United States wheatback penny, 1 1925 United States wheatback penny, 1 small lock of blonde hair bound with string, 1 small lock of black brown hair bound with string, 1 small granite statue engraved and gilded with Hebrew letters. I have been told that the letters spell out the word shalom. 1 dried rosebud, 1 golden wine cup, 1 very strange black cast iron candlestick holder with octopus legs. I saved all of the items in a box, intending to return them to the estate. The family has refused the items, so they will be included in the sale of this cabinet. After opening the cabinet, I decided not to refinish it. I cleaned it and rubbed in some lemon oil. It was at this time that I noticed that there was an inscription in Hebrew carved into the back of the cabinet. I have no idea what it says or if it's significant. I have included a picture of that inscription below. On my mother's birthday, October 28th, 2001, my mother called to tell me that she was going out of town with my sister for 3 days, and we postponed celebrating her birthday together until she returned. On October 31st, 2001, my mother came to my shop. We were going to have lunch together, but before we were going to leave, I gave her the wine cabinet. She seemed to like it. While she examined it, I went
and
to
there's way more to it than
I hadn't been out of sight more than 5 minutes when one of my employees came running into my office saying that something was wrong with my mom. When I went back to see what the matter was, I found my mom sitting in the chair beside the cabinet. Her face had no expression, but tears were streaming down her cheeks. No matter how I tried to get her to respond, she would not. She could not. It turns out that my mother had suffered a stroke. She was taken to the hospital by ambulance. She ended up suffering partial paralysis, losing her ability to speak in form words. She since regained the ability to speak. She could understand things being said to her and could respond by pointing to letters of the alphabet to spell out words she wanted to say. When I asked her the following day how she was doing, she teared up and spelled out the words NOGIFT, no gift. I assured her that I had given her a gift for her birthday, thinking that she didn't remember, but she became even more upset and spelled out the words HATEGIFT, hate gift. I laughed and told her not to worry. I told her I was sorry she didn't like the cabinet and that I would get her anything she wanted if she would just promise to get well soon. Still, I didn't associate anything that had happened with the cabinet itself or anything paranormal. Frankly, I don't even think I even used the term paranormal until last month. I'll try to make this short now. I gave the cabinet to my sister. She kept it for a week, then gave it back. She complained that she couldn't get the doors to stay closed and that they kept coming open. There are no springs in the door mechanism, and I have never found that the doors came open. I gave it to my brother and his wife, who kept it for 3 days and then gave it back. My brother said it smelled like jasmine flowers, while his wife insisted that it put out an odor of cat urine. I gave it to my girlfriend, who asked me to sell it for her after only 2 days. I sold it the same day to a nice middle-aged couple. 3 days later, when I came to open the shop for the day, I found the cabinet sitting at the front doors with a note that read, "This has a bad darkness." I have no idea what that meant. Anyway, I ended up just taking it home. Then things got even worse. Since the day I brought it home, I began having a strange recurring nightmare. Every time I have the horrible dream, it goes something like this. I find myself walking with a friend, usually someone I know well and trust at some point in the dream. I find myself looking into the eyes of the person that I'm with. It is then that I realize there is something different, something evil looking back at me. At that point in my dream, the person I'm with changes into what only can be described as the most gruesome, demonic-looking hag that I've ever seen. This hag proceeds then to beat the living tar out of me. I have awakened numerous times to find bruises and marks on myself where I had been hit by the old woman during the previous night. Still, I never related the nightmare to the cabinet, nor do I think that I ever would have. About a month ago, however, my sister and my brother and his wife came over to my house and spent the night. The following morning during breakfast, my sister complained that she had had a horrible nightmare. She said that she recalled having had it a couple of times before and went on to describe my nightmare exactly to the last detail. My brother and his wife froze as they listened and then chimed in that they had both had the exact same dream during the night as well. The hair was standing up on the back of my neck and still is. As we talked, it became clear that the common denominator was that each of us had had the nightmare during the times that the cabinet was in our respective homes. I called my girlfriend and asked her if she could recall having any nightmares recently. She described the same nightmare, same hag, everything. When I asked her if she remembered the date when she had the nightmare, she said she did not. Then I asked her if it happened to be the night before she gave me the cabinet back to sell for her. She said, yeah. Hey, how did you know that? Now then, since my family discussion, it seems like all hell is breaking loose. For a week afterward, I started seeing what I can only describe as shadow things in my peripheral vision. In fact, numerous visitors to my house have claimed that they have also seen these shadow things. I put the cabinet in an outside storage unit and was awakened when the smoke alarm in the unit went off in the middle of the night. When I went to see what was burning, I opened the door and didn't see any smoke. However, I did get hit with the smell of cat urine. When I went back inside, the smell was in my house too. I do not own a cat and never have. I went back outside and grabbed the cabinet. I brought it back inside and tried to research it on the internet. While I was surfing the net, I fell asleep and once again had the same freaking nightmare. I woke up around 4:30 a.m. when I felt and smelled like someone was breathing on my neck to find that my house now smelled like jasmine flowers, and just in time to see a huge shadow thing go loping down the hall away from me. I would destroy this thing in a second, except I really don't have any understanding of what I may or may not be dealing with. I'm afraid, and I do mean afraid, that if I destroy the cabinet, whatever it is that seems to have come with the cabinet might just stay here with me. I have been told that there are people who shop on eBay that understand these kinds of things and specifically look for these kinds of items. If you are one of these people, please buy this cabinet and do whatever you do with a thing like this. Help me. You can see that I have no reserve price or minimum bid. If I can make things any easier, let me know and I will do everything within my abilities. One more note. On the same day my mom had her stroke, the lease to my store was summarily terminated without cause. The measurements are 12.5 inches by 7.5 inches by 16.25 inches. All of the items that I originally found inside the cabinet are included in the sale and will be delivered with the cabinet. This goes on for him to say that, he's not religious. He doesn't know what one of the Hebrew words means, that no, he doesn't want exorcists and photographs at his house, all the questions that he's being asked. He said he just wants someone to buy it. I'm sure this was a while ago because I've since seen this guy in one of the paranormal shows that I watch where that Zach Baggins or whatever his name is. I'm sorry. I don't watch a lot of paranormal investigator shows, but the guy opened a haunted museum kind of thing, and he wanted all these cursed objects to either be brought in and given, or he bought them, or people just brought them in. And this guy with this Dybbuk box brought it in and told this story. And when they left him alone with it, he became possessed. And I think it was no joke. I think it was a legitimate possession. I'm not sure the name of the show, but if you look for that Zach guy and the show where he opens his own museum of cursed and or haunted objects. So I know a lot of this was me reading that letter, but I thought it was really important and appropriate to read. I mean, just to sell this thing on eBay, first of all, I think it's very irresponsible to be selling this thing on eBay. I think that he still has this thing. I don't know if he decided not to part with it or what happened. He did say that he wanted to make sure that the person he's selling it to was an actual adult, a responsible person who wasn't going to purposely, unleash something, that he wasn't selling it to a kid who could possibly harm themselves. So that's all I have for you today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video on 10 cursed and or haunted objects. I'm going to be doing a series, like I said. So if you have any suggestions, please let me know. Please give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed hanging out with me and spending this time with me. Subscribe if you aren't already, and please spread the love and share this video. Also, please check out the description box for some important links. The live streams I do every week with Steve Stockton, Justice for Cable.
Be with you 1 second. I want to get to the next video. But I do have some things to say. You pretty much have nailed it all. And there's some things with the clergy, though, that I kind of... But in most parts, it's true. Because they go by the Book of Salt. Okay, one sec. And you rebuke your demon. And feeling weird. The other day when I was in the cemetery, I felt weird. It was off-putting, kind of. And then I got to go back. Wednesday. Not to this one, though. To the where he's being put to rest. 1 second. I'm trying to get this ready to go in case we decide to do it. It is 106. Come on, where are you? It's down here. Where did I probably pass? Nope, right there. But yeah, people bring stuff on themselves. It usually starts with a region. I agree. By doing something, I learned when it was probably about a month before I turned 17, when I was 6, that I realized calling them out, calling them, asking them if you're there is never going to be a good idea. You know, all these ghost hunters wonder why they bring this stuff home. Because they bring it on themselves. You can protect yourself all you want. If you don't do it right and have true faith, they're coming home with you if they want to come home with you. Heck, they're going to come home with you if they want to come home with you. It's what you do once you get them home is the difference. You sick and weak, Cindy, yes. And just having a rough one. We got to perk her back up and lift her up, just like we do for you and everybody else. That was so funny, Cindy. I've showed it to a couple people and they just laughed. I saw he did another one for somebody else. I think it was Billy or something. It's hilarious. He's hilarious. Steven. Come on, ride with me, Steven. I was losing it so bad. I was laughing so hard. Gemma can't see it. I don't think she can find. She can't. She has a hard time because of what happened. She feels bad, Cindy, because she's having a hard time with tags. She did something to stop tags because she kept getting really bad tags. And so she had to kind of put a stop to it. But now she can't fix it to where she could be a little more selective. And she feels bad because she does what she has to do. I have to tag her, and then she has to go to my profile or my page and take it from there. You can have my right kidney. Like I said, it may make you want to watch Godzilla and love Godzilla and read comic books. Maybe do the shaky shakes once in a while, but I'm sure you do that anyways, like me. And then, of course, not sleep, but we're living proof of that. Anyways. Yeah, I know he does. He's hilarious. I mean, you turned me on to him. I saw him on one of the YouTube feeds, on one of the YouTube shorts, and kind of giggled at him. And then you sent that one, and then all of a sudden I started seeing him everywhere. He's hilarious. It is hilarious. Yes. Yep, you're supposed to listen to your body. I had a feeling, Edna. When you kind of come and go, I know there's something up. And it is important to listen to to your body. And if you don't agree with your doctors, you need to fight them. And sometimes you may not win, and sometimes it may be too late. But I think you'll be okay, Edna. Like I said, seriously, you need a kidney, and mine works. I'll give you mine. I wasn't a drinker or anything, so you don't have to worry about it being trashed. Heck, kidney's probably the healthiest part of my whole body. Actually, my heart's good too. I couldn't give anybody my throat though. It's school, so nobody could get my voice box. I don't know if they'd want my eyes either. I'd be afraid they'd see things too. Can you imagine getting my eyes and start seeing the things that I see? That would, they'd probably go nuts in a month. I knew it all along, and they wouldn't listen. Now they're silent. Yeah, they'll be silent, Edna. And actually, you need it still. I take it you've talked to a lawyer. Well, there's things that they can do if they can prove that it's directly because you tried to tell them that there was something wrong and they need to change things, and they failed to listen to you because you have the right to your treatment. You have a say for your treatment. You should be able to fight this. Because I had a couple of doctors almost screw me up good. So I may not have gotten any money out of them, but I did screw with their careers. One, he left the field after we were done with him. I didn't get nothing out of him. I screwed him pretty good. And I was a neurologist. I had already ordered a supplement that could help, hopefully. My sister's a lawyer. You have to have a lawsuit. Yeah, I know. There's got to be some way to get around it, though. There's got to be. Now you know why they go after insurance CEOs. It's because of crap like that. We all know that guy he wasn't no hit, man. He was, I got to watch what we talk about. So we'll just drop that subject. So if this kid, then your family can sue. Just be careful what you say. But I totally agree. And it sucks. But you can make his life miserable. You can still report him. This wouldn't have happened if they would have listened to me. That's all you can do. That's what we did. We just kept reporting the guy. Finally, his office said, nope, you got to go. It didn't help when not much after we started reporting, he screwed up another patient pretty bad. So and it's not funny really because he screwed that patient up. I wish I'd gotten money out of him now. I'd have deserved to take him dry. He's one of the reasons why my tremors got worse. They did. Well, not as much as you think. There are probably groups in each hospital that kind of cover each other's back, but you'd be surprised how many doctors turn on each other too. There are good doctors out there. They're just so hard to find. I've had some good doctors, believe me. And you would think in like a place like Cleveland Clinic, they would be like that. And there was a couple of doctors in there probably saved me. And it's sad because a lot of these people, I did all that by myself. I kept everybody. Those were long trips with a guy I never knew. Each time I went up to Cleveland Clinic, somebody drove me up. I didn't even know. Stayed with me in a hotel. Same thing when I went through chemo. A stranger would pick me up, take me to the hospital, sit with me through chemo. Bless their hearts, I got lucky people, good people. They were all good-hearted people. It's the lousy ones that do the damage, and I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. And it's sad. And it's even worse now. I hate to say it, it is even worse now. I worry. I'm just glad I have the doctors I have now. Even when the insurance company, I can actually say, I love my insurance company. When I couldn't get in to see my regular neurologist, when I had to have all this done, they didn't have a problem getting me in. That insurance company will get you in. We'll get you taken care of. And they did. And then they made my regular doctor show up for that last appointment and see me, which was even more amazing. We get you taken care of, Edna. Like I said, seriously, if you need a kidney, I'll give you mine. That ain't no lie. Heck, if anybody who needs anything in this room, I'd probably give it to him. I'm in pretty good shape. Like I said, the only thing you wouldn't want is my throat, my nervous system, because it's all screwed up from all the years of rocking and lack of sleep. Yeah, it's all about the money. And of course it is. Why do you become a doctor? Well, heck, and on top of that, there's still a lot of those doctors have never even finished paying for their college. I want you to think about that. Even with their little scholarships and stuff, they still owe tons of doctors still owe tons of money. So, yeah, I always cracked up. I always gave my old doctor, a lot of crap about this 15 minutes. They come in and see you. Nurse spends more time with you than he did. Now I'm the doctor, my family physician now. Yeah, tons of money. My family physician now, or my personal physician, he spends time with me. I caught him one day. He came in and tried to do that rush job. He goes, no, where do you think you're going? I paid good money to be here. You're going to see my ass, and you're going to listen to what I have to say. Pardon my cussing. But yeah, you got to be honest with them, and you got to be blunt with them. You pay them. They don't pay you. And they owe the schools just as much as anybody else do. And if there's any doctors listening, I respect the crap out of you guys because you guys have saved me a couple times. So I ain't complaining. I'm just saying. There's someone that's dealt with probably tons of doctors all of his life. And I'm sure Edna has too, and a couple other people in here have. But yeah, I'm going to start this next video. It is 117. This one is the New Orleans. You guys keep talking. Please keep talking. Is the Casket Girls of New Orleans. It's a fairly new one. I mean, it's 3 years old. I remember when she did this one. She was so excited about doing this one. It's only 16 minutes, about 17. But I'll probably cut off the last couple minutes. So I'm glitching again. But let me get this up and running. Stop. Oh, I timed that just right. I'll never be able to do that again. Okay, get it up here. This looks cute here too. Mikey didn't come in. He didn't get to see cute, adorable Gemma tonight. Here we go. Keep him in line, Edna, but he got it easy tonight, and I have to keep Mike in line. Okay. Just let me know about the sound, folks. That's all I ask.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, just welcome. My name is Gemma Jade, but today...
Wait a minute. Honey, you can come back and haunt me anytime. I have a ghost set of teacups sitting there waiting for you. Can't scare this old ghost. You probably have a beer with me. I don't know if you drink the beer, but at least there'd be one waiting for you. Or a cup of tea or whatever you prefer to drink. Because believe me, I'm coming back. I'm going to haunt a few people. I can promise you that. There's a few people before I carry on to the next little realm. I'm going to do a little spooky too. They deserve it.
We are going to be discussing the Coffin Girls of New Orleans. Now, I am not feeling well, but I promised you guys a video a day through Halloween. So I'm doing my best to make that happen. Let's just jump right in. As many of you know by now, I've had a lifelong obsession with vampires, but real vampires, not the ones Hollywood has been shoving in our faces for the last however many years, or even the people who roam around and prowl YouTube claiming to be the real deal, but never showing any proof except they like to drink other people's blood. I'm talking about the vampires that nobody has seen in ages because of all the ways we can now catch them in the act on camera or film. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense to me as to why they haven't shown themselves in quite a while. I'm working on a video about murders or mysterious deaths that I think could be vampire related, but it's obviously a slow going process, so stay tuned for that. Many people wonder how vampires got into the United States, and they credit this with the Casket Girls of New Orleans. This didn't make much sense to me because vampires can blend in and so can travel just like anyone else can, right? I did find this story pretty incredible, though, and believable for the most part. Since it involves vampires and a legend I actually think could have at least some truth to it, I decided to bring it to you guys today. In the 1720s, there was apparently a shortage of females in the Louisiana Territory. The men of the city were becoming problematic because there were hardly any women. These men were soldiers and builders and had a nasty habit of chasing around the local women and harassing them regardless of age or whether or not they were married or available. So these men and the officials of the city had a great idea, and it wasn't a unique idea because it was happening all over the United States as we were being colonized at that time, that they decided to have some brides imported from France. The officials thought that maybe this would chill these men out a little bit. It would give them a wife to settle down with, someone to start a family with. They would have babies, and they wanted good French women, so they appealed to the King of France himself. After all, how could they populate a city if there's nothing but men there? It's one of those things where I guess seemed like a good idea at the time. These young women got the name casket girls because they brought along these hope chests with them to the New World from France. But to many of the settlers, these hope chests looked a lot like coffins. And some say they didn't even look like coffins and were too small to contain a whole body. But I saw pictures and I vehemently disagree. If I can find a picture, I'll insert it here. And if not, look it up. They arrived in 1728 to be exact. New Orleans was still ruled by France, apparently, and the wealthy men brought in young girls as brides. The port of New Orleans bustled with activity, the shouting of men, the stamping hooves of horses, the scraping of boxes as the ships were unloaded. To the women aboard the ship, New Orleans was a taste of the forbidden and the unknown. The women were ushered down the wooden plank onto the soiled ground, and to their chest, they each clutched a coffin-shaped cassette or small chest that held all of their belongings, allegedly. After nearly 6 months of traversing the rough waters of the Atlantic Ocean, the young women were eager to make their arrival. Eager and perhaps also a bit nervous about what their welcome would be. These ladies were hand-picked by the Bishop of Quebec on the orders of the King of France himself, and we were being sent to New Orleans with one job and one purpose only, to be wives of the men of Louisiana. New Orleans, in particular, where all of this took place. They couldn't even hope for anything more, as this was their job and their commitment was lifelong. However, as the girls exited the ship, the gossip started immediately. Pale, the locals all whispered the very second the women stepped off. This was including the men who were eagerly awaiting the arrival of the women they were meant to possibly marry one day and start a family with. They were thinking of these robust and beautiful for the day French women. Aside from being pale, these girls were said to have looked thin and sickly. Something was strange about these particular women right from the start, according to the locals. In fact, it's said that so delicate and pale was their skin that only moments after setting their feet on the land, their skin blistered, reddened, and burned from the intense heat of the sun. They were immediately transported to the convent and left in the care of the Ursuline nuns. They were to be taught in the ways of being a wife and were supposed to be protected by these women of the cloth. They would remain here until they married, one by one, being sold off to the highest bidder or just given away. I'm not really sure. I just wrote this and I'm not feeling well, so it's going to be a little less in-depth than normal. However, the King of France hadn't counted upon the horrible welcome these women would receive, even by the men who they were supposed to eventually marry. These men were treating these women the same way they were treating all the other women that were running around. And why not? They treated the women with great disrespect. The men mocked and teased and threw things at them. They spit at them. Some of the girls were forced into marriages with men they hadn't agreed to marry, and some to men who hadn't chosen them at all. The Ursuline nuns were the ones who ended up doing the matchmaking, and that wasn't supposed to be the arrangement. The husbands were bitter about being given a girl they hadn't specifically chosen, and many of the women were being beaten or otherwise abused by their own husbands at this point. Word got back to the King of France, and he demanded the girls' return immediately, as he insisted this was not what he had sent the girls there to endure. To his credit, he did try. He seemed to truly think that the girls would be treated kindly and fairly in their new environment and be loved and welcomed by not just their new husbands, but by the community at large as well. Maybe that's how they did it in France when in the company of strangers, but it was not how things were done in Louisiana. It was irrelevant to the people of New Orleans whose rule they were under. The women who weren't immediately married off the first chance the nuns got were forced to work as sex workers and prostitutes. They had to earn their keep after all, right? It was agreed with the nuns before the girls even got there that the hope chests they carried were to be stored and locked away and not opened under any circumstances before the girls got married. The convent of the Ursuline nuns was located at 1112 Rue Chartres, and the nuns took the girls' only belongings, these coffin-shaped hope chests, into the attic and locked them in there. Yes, I keep doing this because I do believe they were coffins, okay? I'm a believer. The nuns returned to the attic rooms a few months later. I'm not sure exactly why, but I think maybe their curiosity had just gotten the better of them because of all the talk and gossip around town about these actually being caskets which might have held bodies. After all, many of the townspeople who had seen them exiting the boat had immediately noticed they were carrying what looked like and was thought to be actual coffins. I think the nuns were trying to dispel not only their own thoughts on this, they were probably scared, as you know how legends and rumors of witches and otherworldly creatures of the night ran rampant back in the 1700s, but also to calm the fears of the locals and the public. The nuns had a very hard time getting these heavy and quite large chests up the attic steps. However, they would get quite the shock when they did return to check the rooms where these caskets were, because not only were they all wide open, they were all completely empty. All of them. The nuns searched the entire third floor and then the rooms of the girls that were left in their care, and then the entire convent after that. But the belongings were said to have been in those boxes were never found. The nuns were fully convinced now that something otherworldly and absolutely terrifying was afoot. The nuns got together and decided that the young girls were in fact carrying the corpses of the dead over to the new colony with them, and that they had unwittingly been storing them as they waited for just the right moment to strike. The corpses of the undead, actually. They really did go to great lengths, too. The nuns came up with quite the conspiracy, too. Or was it? They claimed and decided that the young girls were carrying these vampires over to attack and feast on the natives, and they were doing so by their own free will. In the dead of night, these vampire creatures would exit their resting place, the coffins, and leave through the attic windows in order to go out and hunt down and kill the locals in the community who were unlucky enough to cross their paths. After they had drunk their fill of Louisiana blood, they would return through the windows which they had left and go back into the coffins to sleep until the next night, when they would do it over again. The nuns spared no expense at making sure the vampires were never released out into the world again by nailing all of the windows on the entire third floor shut with nails blessed by the Pope himself. They had the convent blessed, and they also bolted and locked and nailed the doors closed as well on the third floor. I mean, these were nuns and women of God, except for when prostituting out young foreign women who couldn't be married off quickly enough. And they probably thought the community in the convent would be safe once they did this and locked all the doors. The nuns just wanted to make sure the community was safe. I mean, they were women of God after all, except when prostituting out young foreign women who couldn't be married off quickly enough. But I digress. But who knows how many vampires were already turned at this point. And they thought they caught it early on. Because it's documented that after the arrival of these casket girls or French brides, whatever you want to call them, in Louisiana, the death rate more than doubled. Hopefully, the nuns thought all of their effort would prevent the return of the creatures at daybreak, and the rising of the sun would burn them back to dust and put a stop to all of the killing and the evil. There's a twist to this legend, though, that I did find quite interesting. It varies who you ask, and still to this day, it seems no one can seem to agree upon one thing. Had the girls brought the vampires with them and allowed them to be set loose on the new colony, or were the girls themselves the vampires? It's said in this version that the reason these particular girls were selected to be sent to Louisiana is because their nighttime activities were being noticed by the people in their local towns back in France, and that they had actually chosen, and nobody put up a fight, to be sent to the New World. Fresh prey, maybe, they thought? Maybe it was a deal they'd made or something, and the French king could keep it all quiet and not create one of the panics that were so common back then, especially when it came to things like witches, vampires, werewolves, etc. Either way, the people of the unclaimed territory were completely in the dark about what they were bringing into their new city. Still to this day, locals to the area won't even walk by the building where the Ursuline convent still stands between midnight and 6 a.m. They believe the original caskets are still, to this very day, locked away in the third floor of the building. The windows of the convent are a little strange in the area and subject to much gossip as well. You see, wherever else you go in the city, there's no shutters on any of the windows. The windows of the third floor of the convent, though, are shuttered and never opened. Legend has it they've never been opened since the 1720s, when the Ursuline nuns had them nailed shut with the nails blessed by the Pope. And these are facts, too, that we're dealing with here. It's said that they are still nailed shut and the doors still bolted, with the caskets of the dead still locked tightly inside all of these centuries later. The general public is offered tours of the building and allowed to walk through the entire thing, except the third floor. Nobody's allowed to go up to that floor for any reason. The only person with access to the attic rooms is the Monsignor, and even in the summer months, the windows stay closed and shuttered. During Hurricane Katrina, due to the extreme gusts of winds blowing it up to 174 miles per hour, one of the shutters was blown off one of the attic windows. While the city was still being evacuated, someone was flown in from the Vatican itself to oversee the resealing of the window. The Vatican had to send someone because, remember, the nails had to be blessed by the Pope in Rome. In the 1970s, 2 amateur ghost hunters who had been kicked off of the property before hid in the courtyard one night as the convent was closed and locked up. Earlier in the day, they had spotted one of the shutters and it seemed to be partially opened. They hoped to get footage of the inside of the attic and possibly to be able to somehow peek inside the open shutter. They wanted confirmation as to what was really in the attic rooms, or at least the one with the open shutter. The very next day, their bodies were found completely exsanguinated, emptied of their blood. Their cameras caught nothing but the shutter being opened and slammed closed again multiple times with nobody else around. It was just blowing in the wind. The official story is that since the home is now the official headquarters of the Archdiocese, the third floor holds regular and random storage. Nothing to look at here, folks. Guys, I was going to go, as I said, a little bit deeper into how the building was built and made, but I want to keep the fun of the story. It's Halloween season, right? It's not a regular video where I want to deep dive into everything and ruin your guys' fun by telling you the truth about what's actually going on. Because I do believe something's going on in the attic. Like, they're keeping something. You know, I have my ideas as to what if it's not the caskets of the vampires. And why keep the caskets like that? Like, the vampires obviously burned up, right? If they really were coming in and out of the window. And it couldn't have been the girls if that was the case. So there's a lot more to this. This is the overall Casket Girl story. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you'll forgive me. I really don't feel well, but I wasn't going to not put out a video. I'm doing the best I can to keep my word to you guys. So please be sure and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, if you enjoyed spending this time with me. Spread the love by sharing. Subscribe if you haven't already. My videos are usually a bit more in-depth, and I don't think you'll be disappointed. If you are subscribed, make sure your notification bell is on. Do me a favor, guys, and check out the description box for some links. The live streams Steve Stockton and I do every week on Friday and Sunday.
There we go. Okay, now I'm jerky again. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Let me get this off. Hey, when I jerk like that, I have to redo things. There we go. Give it a minute. See what happens. Watching the meter here. See if it pops back up. I'm looking at property near the White Ferries. You can come and live on my compound. There you go. Man, I wish I could fix this. Better catch up here. I'm waiting for my meter to get back. There we go. Okay, sounds fun. Is it out in the middle of nowhere? Can I dig deep? I want to make my next place underground. Hang out with the trolls. Dragons and trolls. Actually, I have this design put away that I made when I was a kid. I built inside of a mountain that I always wanted to do, but you know, it takes money. Far enough for now. Yeah, I know with the way everything. I don't know. If anything, they're trying to group us in tighter. You know, a lot of places. My friend that took off to Canada up to the Northern Territories. Now, I still haven't heard from him, but the rumor is that he kept moving because they were trying to bring people into the city. They were literally telling these survivors, you got to come in the city. that you shouldn't be out here. And they would try to bring them in, make them come in. And he kept running, along with a bunch of other people, from what I understand, but I don't know how true it is. But yeah, they're trying to, mega cities, and these, what they call 5-minute cities, is what they are, mega cities. Just like you see Judge Dredd and all that. If you haven't seen that, look into Mega City. It's nuts. My cousin went to the mount in Montana, and he has a lot of property up there. He's living like a hermit, and that's what you do. And you make sure you buy it and market your property. You don't let nobody on it. Those are the places to do that too, Edna. Montana, up there in North, South Dakota. Nobody screws with you up there. You are basically the law. Yeah, those are the places to go. You don't want nobody messing with you. We're out in Texas, but I heard Texas is not that easy anymore. Same thing with New Mexico and Arizona. You can't roam around. I mean, sure, if you could stay hidden long enough, but you said a lot of rich people have bought land up there. Oh, I'm sure. I wonder why. Yeah, I wonder why. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. Chinese are buying a lot of land up there too. And they're buying a lot of rancher farms, just like Bill Gates. You got to keep an eye on that stuff too. So what's everybody's opinion about them going to actually ban TikTok? So you guys people who do TikTok, you may lose it. That's a fact. Unless they are able to sell it. Yeah, they have been digging underground complexes for some time. That's really nothing new. I hate to say it that way, but they've been doing that for a while. And there's a lot of them. I don't think people realize how many are there. Any of these booms that people hear, these little, what they call skyquakes and stuff, that's them messing around underground, digging and digging and digging. There's tunnels literally from one state into this country to the other. And the same thing with Europe. There are underground tunnels that literally go for miles, hundreds and thousands of miles. So don't let that skyquakes fool you. It's them screwing with Mother Nature and digging up Mother Earth. Yeah, don't worry about it. You're not going to miss anything. I lasted about, I'd say a week, but it was probably about a week to almost 3. It was all right. It just wanted so much information in short span. And 2, everybody thinks Twitter was bad. Oh no, TikTok's way worse. Way worse. And almost Instagram's almost as bad, but a lot of that's just, I didn't mind Instagram for a little bit because I had a friend that was on it. I only did it for him. But I didn't, with Instagram, probably about 3 weeks before I said screw this. I just couldn't keep up. Nor did I care to. Yes, there is, all over the place. And some of those tunnels may be a lot older than people think. Some of those underground tunnels they use have already been used for hundreds of years. And I don't think people realize that either. But yeah, I've heard truck driver stories of driving in these tunnels from one state to another with no traffic, no nothing. Their own little truck stops and stuff. And they're usually running from a base to a base. They're usually running supplies to a base, Air Force or military base. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. There's stories all over the place. I've heard that a couple times. I actually heard it from one of Dad's many moons ago when I was a kid. One of the drivers was telling me about the tunnel he just came out of. He was delivering bread and hostess stuff to a military base. He said he drove the whole way underground. He said it was eerie. He said there was moments that he just felt like he wasn't alone in there. Something didn't feel right, he said. No, nothing does me either anymore. I pretty much expect the weird anymore. And it's going to get weird. And there's going to be more things that are considered conspiracies that are going to come out to be true. And it's pretty funny. Everybody picked on Alex Jones, but everything pretty much he's talked about has come to pass. That's a subject I like to take to Rumble, just conspiracy theories in general, because that's a Rumble. That's something you want to talk about on Rumble. Get away with a lot more. I mean, it's its limits too, but you can definitely do a lot more in Rumble. I'm still thinking about doing my channel there. I think I might do a live or drop one of my videos on there. I still got 2 sitting. I just don't know if I want to release them. And if I do, I'll probably do them on Rumble. One of them I didn't even bother to edit, so it's pretty funny. But it's just me rambling. That I don't do often, but it's a little easier when you're by yourself and you're just letting every thought in your head come out. That's basically what I did in the first video. I think I talk about everything. It's like a half hour long. The time we got here, we got 8 people watching. And by the way, for all the people that have been coming and going, thank you for coming. At least watching the videos, the uploads. I call them uploads. I do appreciate it. Now, Gemma does have a video coming out Monday at 11. I'm not going to even try to say the title. I'll screw it up. At 11 a.m. Monday, there is a premiere. So I'll be there. I should be there. Had a hard time the last couple of times because I've been running. But I should be there this Monday. Then nothing until Thursday. I should be here at 8 o'clock for spooky time. And then Friday, between 7 and 7:15, because she's been showing up early for Gemma's 1-card oracle, intuitive oracles. Then I should be here Saturday night. I don't like to promise I'll be here, but I should be here. What he did to those parents of the kids shot in is unforgivable to me. I think he's an a-hole. Oh yeah. There's a lot of bad stuff out there. Huh? I mean, we don't even hear, actually, if you think about it, we don't even hear about half of it. That's why I watch Donut Operator. If you don't know who he is, he's a cop, ex-cop, does like police videos and stuff. He's really good. And then we have a guy here in Columbus that shows police. He's an officer, and he shows body cam footage of not only his stuff, but stuff that goes on around here. And people don't understand how much good they really do. How much good they really do. But yeah, every so often, even he admits she'll have to show a video where screws up, makes the wrong choice. But this world, it's going to get a lot crazier and a lot more insane before it even gets better. But that's my opinion. But yeah, it's sad, and it's very sad. And he is an a-hole. I totally agree with you. But it sounds like it's getting quiet. Oh, yeah. I know you do that now because you see this. You're getting to a point where I think, other than seeing things that follow people, I don't think you're too far behind me yet. But I got to tell you something. I know since you've been sick, you've been thinking about what you saw. The hooded figure, the gray hooded figure. Don't let that get to you. And don't let that scare you and make you think that because you saw him, what is happening now. Because I have a feeling you do think about it. Don't. What you saw was not for you. Okay? So don't worry about that. Believe me, I'm take my word for it. You know, God puts us in our superior being, whatever you want to believe. There's a reason why we go through the things we go through. I don't think so. Because I don't think he was, when you originally saw him, he wasn't there for you. And when you saw him again, I still don't think it was for you. But are you reading my mind, Ghost? No, I know. I just know, Edna. He's not there for you. But you were meant to see him. And like I said, there's a reason why we go through the things we go through. And always keep that in mind. And even though it's hard and painful and rough on the soul, it's done for a reason. Because it's going to be a teaching lesson. And yeah, it can make you or break you. And that's the key, is finding out where your faith is and your strength really lies. You know, we can pray for a person all we want, but it's still all up to them. You understand? Because it wasn't there for you. It was there for somebody else. You just happen to be in its presence. I'll let you. I could tell he was like me. I can tell he was like, did she see me? When he told, yeah. And I've, you know, I mean, it's not just the one I saw, but all the other times I've seen things when they tilt their head, or I get the impression, hey, they're looking at me. They see me. They know I'm watching. It's because I know they didn't expect to see me seeing them. That catches them off guard too. And then they question, why is this person seeing me? And it scares them as much as it scares us. Because unlike ghosts and other things, when people see stuff like that, it's not meant to happen. It's fluke. And then the people that are meant to see, that's a different ballgame. It's all how each person deals with it. Everybody deals with it different. But we're meant to see these things. Sometimes not on purpose, and sometimes on purpose. But we're still meant to see it. Yeah, he was solid yet moving, like it was something, like was trying to form a solid. I understand what you're saying. Believe me. Probably a lot of people that they're even just ghosting probably know what you're talking about. I wasn't afraid that, see, because you didn't pick up no vibes. There was no fear. And that's good. It can be kind of scary too. Because when you don't fear, you're kind of like, why am I not scared? That's all good. Emotion's a part of it. But yeah, it didn't scare me. Now, when I saw the one for the first time, the gray one like you saw, I didn't pick up no vibes, but it troubled me. It didn't scare me, but it troubled me. Why was I seeing this? Because you see them and you immediately think a Reaper or a Reaper, a Grim Reaper, because that's what they look like. Except without the skeleton. You don't get to see the skeleton. When I first saw him, that's what I thought I was seeing. And then when it saw me looking at it, and I knew when it saw me because as immediately as it saw me, it tilted its head. It kind of leaned in, like, can you see me? That's when I knew that's not what it was. I don't know, like a lot of people think they're watchers, like you have said, seers, observers. I don't know what their task is. Maybe they're information keepers. I have no idea. And that's fine. You're more than welcome to do that. I'm glad you emailed me. I got to email you back because, like I said, I have an email started for you, and I just keep adding to it. And then I keep going back and going, I don't want to tell her all that because I'm real picky. I mean, I want to make it worth your time to read. And it's hard to say things in text and in email that you can't say in person. It's a little easier to say some things in person. But yeah, I know how it feels. Now, imagine seeing those things than seeing the things that follow people. He's creepy. The other day, he was at the store picking up medicines for Pop. And this lady come in that store and had this thing all wrapped around her with it whispering in her ear. That's what it was doing. I could see it. It's like pulsating by her head. And she looked 3 sheets to the wind. I wanted to say something, but it just something told me to stay away because it did not look good, and she did not look good. And the funny thing is, she was standing at the clinic at Kroger, waiting to be seen. I've never seen anything like it in my life. You probably now you have. And the thing is, I think the first time you saw it, you were meant to see it, but it was still a fluke. You understand what I'm saying, right? With my empathy, I think that would break me. Yeah, kind of times with my empathy, it does kind of break me at times, doesn't it? People see I never look happy. It's look what I see all day. I mean, I'm happy. I'm more than a good mood, but it's hard sometimes. And it does take a physical toll on you. You're seeing that stuff, Ed, and it does take a physical toll on you. I think you're feeling that now. And I think you're feeling it when you had your little issue. And it fights with you. Especially when they know you can see. Honey, like I said, I have come to the conclusion because when I started rocking and showing all this Tourette's behavior was when I was 2 years old. They told my mom and dad I'd grow out of it. But I knew I wasn't going to grow out of it because the worse it got, the worse. I noticed the more I saw things, the worse it got. So I almost think the two is connected. So I've had to seen something when I was a little baby. When I was 2 years old, that clicked it in my head. I don't know what it was. I don't want to know. But I know I've seen stuff since I can remember. You know, I always say, you know, like you, it was probably 4 or 5 when I really remember seeing something. But there are things that pop up in my head that I know I probably saw when I was like 3, 4 years old. Now, seeing stuff following people didn't start until kindergarten when I started seeing the little things following the little kids. Thanks, Ed. And the things. But see, I know I'm not the only one out there. I've talked to other people like me over the last couple of years. And it's weird. And, you got family, don't believe it. I have a hard time talking to my kids about this. I wouldn't even talk to my ex-wife about it when I was married to her. I kept it all inside. And you wonder why I was so weird. Had my moments. Why I would sit by myself for a while. That's why. I didn't mind the hard to give up cigarettes when that's what I did. When I wanted to get everybody away from everybody, I couldn't smoke in the house. I went and had a cigarette. That was my time to get away from it all and deal with it myself. It's hard going to work. And I know, like I said, I know I'm not the only one like that, like this. I know it's, I've had several people say, and you probably, it's hard to go to work when you see stuff all the time. Now, I got to admit, there are days I see nothing. And I love those days. Those are good days. And then all of a sudden, boom. It'll happen for 4 or 5 days, 2 or 3 weeks, months, and then I'll get a break. Right now, it's not so. It's kind of off and on. I've had a couple good days where it's not bad, and then I'll have a couple of days where it's just insane. I don't dare leave the house. There was one day I came home and I said, I ain't leaving anymore. I'm done. I ain't going back out. Because if you told people this stuff, they would, oh yeah, and I've tried. Thomas, bless his heart. I miss you, Thomas. And Patricia, probably the only ones up until I started talking to you folks on the internet, were probably the only ones that ever understood. I never dealt with it because I would tell them the creepy, scary stuff. And Thomas has even helped me through a few creepy, scary stuff. So yeah. And it's funny because, I've got friends that never met these guys. And these are friends of mine I've had forever. And I've had best friends that never met these people. I've had a wife. My ex, she's never met Thomas or Patricia. In fact, when I got married, I didn't talk to them a whole lot. Talked to Thomas every so often, but not Patricia. I didn't start talking to Patricia again until about a year after I got divorced. And she's that sister. She's my sister I never had. My overprotective sister. Crazy until you comes to pass. Yeah, see, I haven't been called a witch, but I've been called a lot of other things. Watched for months before I ever started chatting online. I watched for years, Edna. And then, actually, when I first started talking was on Sean G's channel. Then Steve's. And then I just started talking. And then I met Gemma, and then I really started talking. So, yeah. Spilling my guts, it's all right. And it's easy to do online, too. It really is. That's why you have troubles and stuff, because it's easy to hide behind the screen. If you don't have a camera on, you're good to go. Started talking on Steve's channel and met Gemma there. Yep. And that's where we really started talking. Do you still check out Steve's channel? I don't even know what his new channel is called. Or does he have a new channel? I know he doesn't do 13 past midnight anymore, does he? I know he still does mysteries, and are they still doing mysteries and missing persons? No. Okay. I know he just got married. I know he had a baby. Pammy, sure, I knew that. I never made much fun of Steve. I think he has a great voice. But after what I witnessed and saw, I just wish him best of luck. Keep doing what he does. on the internet. Don't go any further than that. He stopped for, I know he stopped for a while. Well, there was reasons for that. I see him sometimes on other channel. I know he still shows up on SR, right? If anybody's out there, I wish him the best. He's a great storyteller. There's no doubt about that. But we all have our issues though, don't we? He stopped for a while, and I see him sometimes. This spell was broken for me. Everyone shows their true self eventually. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I think I have a number of times on the internet. That's why I had problems with Facebook the first time I was on Facebook, because I was showing the true me. You have to forget the way I look. I've been cleaning all day. Today and tomorrow was winter cleaning. So I'm trying to clean everything up, scrub everything down, so we'll be trapped inside, get the house good and clean, dust free, which is impossible when you live by a cemetery, always storing up dust. But yeah, and it's the same thing. Everybody will show their true selves at one point, especially if you let them do it on their own. If you try to force it, it's a little harder for it to happen. And I really believe that, unless you do something amazing. But they usually end up doing it on their own, or causing events to happen to show it themselves. There we go. That's enough of the conversation. But yeah, and I'm a big believer what goes around comes around, good and bad. You do good things come around. You do bad things, it's going to come around. Eventually, it will come around. Sometimes it takes longer for others, but those are the ones they're going to get slammed hard when it comes back around. There's been several people on here that I knew weren't all there. They've showed themselves best to just sit back and watch. I totally agree. Now you know why I get quiet sometimes. Especially when I'm just spectating in chat like you folks right now. Usually if I sit back and wait long enough, say things, it shows. And I'm seeing it right now, and even some of our chats. But it's good to see new people coming in the oracles. Gemma doesn't want to have to charge for those, but $2. I think if you get a membership at $5, it's worth it. You get a reading on Friday, and $2, you can't complain. There are people out there that charge more than that. $4 for super chat. That's only because YouTube takes half of it. It's totally worth it. And she only wants to do it until she gets back on her feet. And I think it's fair. She did it free for 3 years? I know it kind of feels like it kind of bust with the economy it is, but you're hurting. She's hurting. So I think it's important. And she's got a lot of good, strong people out there that support her. But yeah, I don't know how I got on that subject, but I do need to promote that. Folks, please come on Fridays. Pay the $2, pay the $4. It's worth it. I feel like, Ryan, I'm really interested, and I want to know, am I crazy, or are things real? I want to know. Ryan's an interesting guy, and he's got his mind definitely set on stuff, and I can see why. He's like me. He's done his research. He's big into the Native American lore, and yes, he wants to know if it's real. I can tell you from what I've seen, it's probably real. Now, Ryan, when we come back after Christmas, I don't know. He said he would like to be with us, but he streams while she's doing oracles, which kind of bummed us out. Now, he has asked us to, be guests on his show, so we'll have to do it on a different night for him. But Brian has his own little following from before. You know, he had a channel before. But as far as I know, when we come back after Christmas break, he'll probably be with us. He does like doing the Tuesday shows, and he loves hanging out with me and Gemma. So he'll probably be back with us. You guys love him, and he was so happy. I think that's being with us on Tuesdays and doing the interviews he's been doing made him realize that he should get back into it. Now he always has a guest on because he doesn't like to stream alone. Like, I don't mind streaming by myself because so I get to talk. And I don't talk a whole lot anyways. Even my Blackfeet Cherokee elder warned me of these things. Yeah, so that's a thing. And I agree. He talks but you got to say their names when you're telling people. I mean, his big thing right now is trying to get people to understand that Wendigos and Skinwalkers are not what these top 10 things, these top 10 channels and spook channels. That's not what they are. They just, everything's one of those things. Oh, that's a Skinwalker. Oh, that's a Wendigo. He's trying to break them with that. Put the real information out. And as silent as you can. Respect the forest. Yes. I respect the forest. And if I see something strange in the forest, I'm going to be the first one to run after it. That's like, Gemma complains about everybody all screaming and yelling when they see a ghost. And it doesn't make sense. Why are you acting like that? You're there looking for him. What are you freaking out for? You're probably freaking them out too. They would never use real names. They thought if you did, you called them to you. Yes. Yeah, and see, that's the thing about using names of these cryptids. Yeah, there's some I really believe, like Skinwalkers and the Wendigos. They're native names. I don't think you should use them. I mean, you got to use them to educate. But if you were in that area, if you're in that area, I don't think. In Wendigo and Skinwalkers, I believe you personally, from what I've understood, in order for them being saying their names, you would have to be in that area. Now, Wendigo is more of a demon spirit, is what I've always believed and what I've always looked at it. That can physically transform you once it embodies you. Bigfoot, for instance, was called the Boog. Yeah, I mean, and Bigfoot's had many names. Boogeyman. I've heard him called. What was one of my ancestors? Wasn't an ancestor. Somebody's family. I don't know who I was with. They would call them tree huggers because every time, I guess his uncle saw one, it was always like hugging a tree. They like to hug up against a tree so you can't see him or whatever. And that's what he called them, tree huggers. You got Squatch, you got Bigfoot. A lot of people believe that the redhead giants, that Bigfoot may be actually part of the redhead giants, which kind of makes sense. But the redhead giants were giant people. I don't know if they were like an offshoot or an inbred. But I've heard that theory before. But yeah, there's so much talk of Bigfoot. I try to keep all that information because everybody's got good information. There's good stuff out there. There goes my voice. Sorry about that. That's like Dogman. First it was Bigfoot, then we got into Dogman. Now you don't hear it as much. Now we're back to Skinwalkers and Wendigos. But now it's UFOs again. And there's some really wild stuff going on with UFOs right now. So if you're keeping an eye on cryptids, keep an eye on the sky too, because there's some weird stuff going on up there. But see, I don't really look at UFOs like it. I'm one of a very small group. I don't think we're as small as we used to be, that don't think aliens are what everybody thinks they are. And I'm going to stand by that. She didn't call the little people one. I see. She called them, yeah. Oh, excuse me. I'm kind of, yes. My breath there I was belching and trying not to belch. And I'm not going to say those words because I have my mouth and my vocabulary sucks anymore. But I've always was, anytime somebody in the family or everybody I know, always called them little folk. And if they were being distinctive, they would say fairies or trolls. And then when they talked about gnomes or anything in that kind of department, it was always little folk. If they were talking about creatures that flew, they were fairies. I had a friend who lived somewhere down in Kentucky, grew up down Kentucky, and his grandparents believed they had a bridge, a covered bridge, and they swore up and down that that's where the story three Billy Goats Gruff came from. I'm saying I think that's a European story, but apparently they believed there was a troll under that bridge, and apparently he had seen it a couple times. I've seen the bridge; it's a beautiful bridge, and it still stands today, from what I know. But yeah, his grandparents believed that it's where the Three Billy Goats Gruff was written. And his grandpa, says this thing was the ugliest thing he ever seen, but he knew it was a troll. I didn't know the difference till I was, well, the little people live by rocks and water. I didn't know that. All I know is that's what they called them around me. But they all lived around creeks and mountainside. So it makes sense, I guess. But see, it's like Gemma says, and if you read her stuff and know Gemma and all these other people, they're just like little races of them too. You know? That's what it cracks me up with, like UFOs. Everybody sees a UFO and then they see it the same type of UFO clear on the other side of the world. Oh, it's going to be the same UFO. I go, man, have you ever thought there's probably more than one? And there's probably more than one type of alien. None of this makes sense. It doesn't. It never will to most people. It's true, though. It doesn't make sense. And I no wonder why people look at us like we're nuts. Oh, man. What time we got here, Edna? It's me and you talking. Everybody else is just sitting back and watching. Laughing at me. That's all right. I like to be laughed at. It's 2:14. Edna, you need to get some rest. I need to do a couple things. So, folks, we're going to call it a night. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for enjoying the uploads with us. Edna, go get some rest, woman. The news showed the one. I saw the pyramid-looking thing. I've seen that, too. And it's an interesting video. But hey, it's so good. No one's they're watching. They're listening to us. That's all right. How many times does that happen in fast? We went on to like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning one night, just me and you talking, and we still had like 7, 8 people watching us. So it's all good. They're enjoying, they're relaxing, enjoying the early morning hours or wherever they may be. We're going to call it a night. Edna, go get some rest. Go cuddle up. Well, you're probably already cuddled up. Get some rest. Get the healing. I'll get that email out to you when I can sit down and get it all in one word. And I look rough anyways. And folks, have a wonderful Sunday. Remember, Gemma's got a video at 11 a.m. Monday morning, a premiere. Please come check it out. I would try to say the name, but with the way I'm talking now, I'd probably just tear it up. But it sounds like a really good one, so please check it out. I should be there. I love you all. Again, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for ghosting. Thanks for watching the uploads with us. Watching me and Edna gab. Good night, Edna. Please get some rest, sweetie. I will be thinking of you. A lot of you. So have a wonderful one. And I should see you Monday. And I guess I can go ahead and say, I'll see you on the flip side. Take care, folks. Have a wonderful Sunday.